welcome to Murphy's Garden. It's a glorious, glorious morning. I am going to work, but we've been busy all weekend tidying up the garden, doing the edges, and it's looking as perfect as it ever gets. So I just want to give you a tour of the garden while it's still so lovely. So this is the Hornbeam walk. We've managed to cut the Hornbeam. It's looking really tight and crisp. Obviously one side is a bit more mature than the other, but this side is catching up. And having the extra side means that we get this area is now sort of in dappled shade, which is really lovely. So here I am in the Quadrant garden. So each of the areas, they're all different, slightly different, but the colours and the colour palette is all roughly about the same. It's lots of pinks and purples, a few blues and oranges, and I think the areas are looking really good. Only a little bit disappointed with this quadrant, which is just a little bit insipid in colour. There's nothing that kind of really pops like it does on this one, so I will address that in the autumn. So I'm now in the Sunken garden, and this is a complete change from the Quadrant garden, where we've got just a very muted colour palette, so just greens and creams, and it gets this shade because of the tree to this side, so it's always a very kind of peaceful, tranquil area. So in this area we've got these 4 Portuguese laurel trees. They're really nice structural plants. They were getting a little bit big, so we have cut them hard back, which we did yesterday, and they are this is making them look a lot better, and the area is looking better for it. It looks a lot bigger actually. The area behind me here, we did have the hydrangea lime lights, which we've moved, which I'll show you in a bit, but behind me we've replaced those with some skimmias, white skimmias, and they're really loving it. They're lovely glossy leaves, and they're doing very well. The hydrangea were just getting a little bit too big for the area. Over to this side we've got the pheasant grass and a big phormium, and we moved those around last autumn because they weren't sort of symmetrical and they didn't kind of look right, so we took out an old holly that had seeded and a few other bits and bobs that had self-seeded, and that's looking nice. However, we did make a bit of a mistake in that we didn't cut the pheasant grass back at the right time of year, so the growth is looking quite dead, so we do need to rectify that next year and cut it right back. So I'm now in the Woodland garden. We've got these silver birch, Betula giacomonti, and they just give this lovely dappled shade. They've been in now for I don't know, maybe 2-3 years, and we have still got these structures supporting them, but they probably could come down in fairness, but we might just give it another winter with the structures in place, just because this garden can be terribly windy in the winter, so we'll just give them one more year. But I think the Woodland garden has improved since last year, because last year the path went very close to this fence in the background, and what that meant was we didn't have any planting. We had planting on one side but not on the left hand side, so we've rectified that and brought the path in a bit, and that's given us this deeper border, and the deeper border means that you can put more planting in, and hopefully eventually we'll disguise this fence. I have put 3 paracanthus plants in, and the idea being to completely cover that fence and make it look a bit nicer, a bit softer. So following on from the Woodland walkway, we come into this area, and this area we've, as I say, we have changed it. So on this side we've got lots of shrubs, lots of them we've moved around and played about with. On this side we've got the gunnera, we've got the acanthus, and what else have we got? This big Stipa gigantica, which looks really lovely in this morning light. It just catches the light. A big phormium. And then on this side, as I said, we've moved these hydrangea limelight from the area over there, and we've put them here. And the reason for doing that is because when you're walking along here, you don't really want to be able to see into the area beyond, because it just gives more sort of intrigue and mystery if you can't quite see into it. So these are doing the job and creating that lovely screen. So here we've got the stachys and scabious, and these lovely little drumstick alliums. And as you can see, the Stipa behind me, it looks really iridescent in this light. This is the acanthus, which is looking quite statuesque, and then the gunnera here too. And the gunnera was moved from this side. This side is our we have got a bog area on this side, because when we initially planted it, we dug it out and lined it with some sort of pond liner, and then we backfilled it with lots of manure, so we are able to grow some things like hostas and astilbes, which we can't elsewhere in the garden because it's so dry. We've also got the arum lilies, which are they're not flowering yet, but they're coming through and looking really good. So we're now heading out of that area onto this lovely little path. So this path just curves away, and it just gives a bit of, as I say, just sort of adds a bit of interest and a bit of mystery. On this side, we've got this lovely Pittosporum telenfolium variegatum, and this is a really good plant for a dark spot. It's really light and bright, so it is one that I'd recommend if you've got kind of a dark area, which this sometimes can be. Here we've got the this is the passion flower, and then we've also got the hydrangea. Next to the hydrangea, dark leaves. It looks really nice. The passion flowers really cloaked this whole archway. It was looking a bit crispy earlier in the year, but it's come back, and it's come back with a vengeance. Look, it's got lots and lots of passion flowers. They're not open yet because it's still a bit early, but it's looking really, really good. So just wanted to show you this archway. So the archway's got this lovely rose, and then this beautiful little clematis. It's very delicate and very dainty. I think it might be called Princess Diana, but to be honest, I'm not sure. But anyway, I really love its effect, and I'm just trying to get it to go over the archway entirely. And here we are by the pond. Something's wrong with the fountain. The filter seems to be a bit blocked because the water's coming onto the path. That needs sorting out, so we'll just feed the fish. Yeah, the pond's looking healthy. We've had lots of nice lilies, and it's looking good. So this is the main pathway. This transverses the garden, and it looks quite good. We've got the box hedging along here, which we've just cut, and then inside we've got the nepeta. And the nepeta did look absolutely lovely, but because the box hedge needed cutting and also the nepeta was starting to go over, I've cut the nepeta right back just to make it easier for trimming the box. So the box has been trimmed, it's all been fed, and it's been treated with the top boxes. So hopefully the nepeta will be back again soon for another flourish. So here we are in the parterre. The parterre, we've been busy again cutting all the hedges. It's quite a long, tedious job. We've got a lot of hedges to cut, but it is worth it because once they're cut, the garden just really looks sharp. So we've done the yew hedging and we've done the box hedging. And then inside the box, we've got the ballerina roses and the sweet pea at the obelisk. So I'm really pleased with this area. It's looking good. So leading off from the parterre, this is the vegetable patch. So I'll just take you into the greenhouse and just show you what's happening in there. So we're having quite good success in the greenhouse. We've got tomato plants, we've got peppers, we've got aubergines, and we've got lots of, well, 3 cucumber plants. So everything's doing really well. Compared to last year I grow a lot of my tomato plants from seed, and then I get very attached to them and I don't like to throw them out. So I had far too many plants, and it was like a jungle in here and you literally couldn't move. So I've been a bit more ruthless this year, and I've just kept the plants that we need. So I've got fewer plants. I mean, it is still quite jungle-like, but compared to last year it's not as bad, so you can move about, and I'm looking after them a lot better. Whereas if you've got, the more plants you have, the harder it is to look after everything. So I think this is working better, and that we'll have enough plants there's only 4 of us, so we haven't got an army to feed. So in this area we've got the lettuce, which is near the path for easy picking, and that's the cut and come again lettuce, and we've been eating that, lots and lots of bowlfuls of that. I have got the next, I have to keep replanting and make sure I've got a good succession coming through. Here we've got the climbing French beans, which are yet to produce anything, but they are flowering, and they will do soon. And we've also got some peas, and they're podded, just got to fill out a little bit. This area has not been quite so successful. We've got a few gaps and things, but we've got some beetroot, so I have started picking that, and I've just infilled any gaps yesterday, and I've given this area a good soak because it's been very, very hot this weekend. We've got some carrots, we've got some chard, we've got some celeriac, which we grew last year, and that was really good, and I've got some onions. In this area we've got, these are the raspberry canes, so they're all, lots of little fruits forming on there, so it won't be long before we get fruits off that. And then here we've got 3 courgette plants, and they're quite prolific already. We're starting to pick, and in the background we've also got rhubarb, which has done very well this year too. Then this area we've got 2 gooseberry bushes, and they've been really lovely. We've had great big lovely juicy gooseberries from those, and also some black currants again. We've been picking those. The area in front of me, we've got the sweet corn, which has got quite big. Probably we'll need to net that because we have got lots of pigeons in this garden. And then this area is the pumpkin patch, or the squash area. Last year I had lots of squashes which I brought on in pots, and I think I had broad beans and peas in this area, and I was waiting for those. I had nowhere to put them, so I was waiting for those to be picked before I put the butternut squashes in. But what happened was they didn't really like it in the pots, and by the time they went into the ground there just wasn't enough time. We kind of ran out of the season before they produced many squashes. So I've dedicated this area for that area, and I'm pleased to see that they're getting really quite big and they're starting to put on some fruits. So hopefully that will be a little bit more successful, but you live and learn, and every year we just improve on what we do. Here we've got a little blueberry plant, and that's quite nice. We're picking some, there's a blueberry there, I'm picking some blueberries. Unfortunately, you meant to have 2 blueberries to get fruit. We did have 2, but this one, I don't know quite what happened to that, whether it didn't get watered, it's just died. I've also got this apple tree, which is a discovery apple, and that's in a bottomless pot, so we've cut the bottom out of that. And that allows the roots to go into the ground and the soil underneath, so it means that it's not as dependent on watering. It will get some nutrients and things from the soil below. We've got some pleached apple trees as well along the fence line, and that's the fence that we painted earlier in the season. I'm really glad I did that. Certainly couldn't do it at this time of year because it's covered in foliage and plants. So this area are the potatoes. You can see we've been digging those. In fact, we had them last night for dinner and they're lovely. We've got the first earlies, which are the Arran pilots. We've got the second earlies, which are here, and they're elf. And then lastly, we've got the Mary Pipers, which are the main crop, and they're at the back. So they were absolutely delicious, and I got a very good good yield from I just picked 2 plants yesterday, and we got lots and lots of potatoes, so that was good. So under these nets we've got the kale. The kale, last year we had a big area of kale, and we constructed a netting thing over the top of it, and the butterflies just flew right through the holes in the net, so it was really unsuccessful, and they decimated the kale. So this year, a bit like the tomatoes, I'm doing less is more approach to gardening. So you don't need loads and loads of plants. I've got fewer plants, and they're under this netting and they're covered really well. And so far, touch wood, we haven't had any butterflies getting in, and we've been picking that, and it's been really lovely. And then behind me, we've got so we've got the climbing French beans over there, and then these are just the little dwarf French beans, and they're lovely little yellow beans, and they freeze really well. I will have loads and loads of beans when they're all producing, but they do freeze well, and I freeze them in a big bag and then use them throughout the rest of the year. And then here we've got the broad beans, which we just pick. They're not all ready, but they're certainly getting there. Actually, that's not. And we picked some of these last night and had them for our dinner, and they were really lovely. So we've got these lovely broad beans. So once, give them maybe another week, and then they'll be ready to pick. And against the fence line, we've got the espaliered fruit pear trees up this end. We've got that's the Conference, and this is the Invincible. And as you can see, this one is just laden with pears. It's been a really good year this year. The hedging, which is the other side, we've got sort of mixed hedging on that side, a lot of hawthorn. That all needs cut. That's a job that desperately needs to be done. It's looking really scruffy, and that will make this whole area look better when that's done. And against this fence line, we've got some more apple trees, and this is Scrumptious, and we're delighted to see it's quite a juvenile plant. We haven't had them that long, but we're really pleased to see we've got 3 little apples on there, and they look absolutely delicious. So we'll have a fight on who's going to get to eat them. So this area, this is probably the area that I've struggled with the most. We've got 2 big herbaceous borders, and I find it quite daunting to plant it, and it's really struggled to get it right. But I think this is actually, it's looking the best it's looked. We did make a lot of alterations in the autumn. So with borders like this, initially I kind of tried to have them the same on both sides, but I quickly realised that that didn't work, because obviously you get different light levels, different conditions on each side, and one side would do better than the other. So all I've done now is I've got the three structural Stipa giganticas. We've got the same both sides of that, but the rest of the planting is similar. It's repeated on both sides, different similar colours but not identical. And I think that's, for me, seems to be working quite well. So we feel in this area, this is a project for the future. This area really cries out to have something here in the middle, and we're thinking a nice rill, just a long rill up the middle of this area would look really good, and what it would do would be to reflect the sky and also the reflections of like the Stipa and things. So that's a project for the future, so watch this space and hopefully we'll get onto that sometime soon. This is our new area. This is the newest addition to the garden. It was only finished earlier this year. And we've had loads and loads of use from it. It's been really, really lovely, and it's very sheltered. It gets the last of the evening sun. It's just getting the morning sun now. It's just coming round. But what I like about it, if in the evening it can get quite sort of windy and stuff, but this area it's already feeling really sheltered. And obviously with the yew hedging that we've planted around it, as that grows up, that will just get more and more sheltered as time goes by. But the stones seem to hold on to the heat throughout the day, and by the evening it just seems to be like a different climate and really lovely and warm. We have got the chimney and we've got a few little lights and things, so come the evening it's just a really, really lovely area to be in. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed our garden tour for July 2021. Thanks for watching, and join us in the next video. Bye for now.